Hello everybody, Jordan Nelson here. Today we are talking about two qualities of a wedding videographer that I think are underrated and are actually really important. So let's get started. So I will address the elephant in the room here. Why am I holding on to this guy? So I just recently got this audio recorder that I've been using for receptions. I'll probably do a proper review on it at some other point. The last two weddings that I did, you can check them out here on the channel. I used this recorder to get the reception speeches. So I'm letting you hear the audio quality right now. I'm not sure if it's picking up by the dishwasher going right now or how the ambient noise sounds. So I just want to see with that kind of lower noise in the background, will it come in there? And just to let you hear the audio quality yourself. So if you're trying to figure out how to get audio for reception, this could be a great purchase for you. I have loved it. So that's why I'm holding on to this. I just want you to hear the audio quality. Now let's get into the reason you're watching this video. The two qualities of a wedding videographer that I think are underrated. And those are grace and humility. Let me explain these really quick because I think they're really important for you as a wedding videographer. As you go along, you could easily burn out, just become exhausted, not like wedding filmmaking because you're lacking these certain qualities that will help you have longevity and enjoy what you're doing here and be a really good wedding filmmaker as a whole person, not just the technicalities of how to actually film a wedding. So, grace. You need to be able to give yourself grace when you make mistakes, when you miss the first kiss, let's say, for example, or you don't get the best shot, or your film edit doesn't seem to be going the way that you want it to, you can't get the color grading down, maybe you feel awkward at the wedding, or you had a weird interaction with the bride or the groom. There are just all kinds of things that could potentially go wrong and mistakes that you make during the day. And you need to be able to give yourself so much grace to make those mistakes, because if you are really uptight about what you're doing, and let's say you do miss that first kiss, you're gonna go the rest of the day in a huge funk. Let's say you were off to the side at the ceremony and then the first kiss came up like really quick. That does happen. It just seems like, you know, the pastor or the officiant is going on and it seems like there's still some more time, and all of a sudden, and I pronounce you man and wife, you may kiss the bride. And then you're off to the side and you're not ready. So let's say you missed that shot. Of course, you want to plan. You're going to get better at knowing these things. You're not going to not try to get it or just be lazy about it. Of course, you're going to want to get that shot. But when you make mistakes like this, you're going to need to be able to not be in a huge funk the rest of the day, beating yourself up, or that night just beating yourself up, because that's going to get exhausting over time as you continually have this perfectionism attitude, especially as you're first starting out. You're going to mess things up. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna miss stuff. You're gonna have a shaky shot. You're gonna have something out of focus. Things are not always gonna go your way. This is a live event going on, so you need to be able to give yourself some grace for that. So related to this grace is perseverance. You need to be able to persevere through your failures. When you fail, you need to be able to move forward with clarity and with focus, and not just thinking about the ways that you've messed up, or being so internally focused on like, I stink at this, I'm not good at this. Don't be obsessing over those little details. You need to be able to move forward and just create the best wedding film that you possibly can. Just work as hard as you can despite your failures. You need to be able to persevere through those things, because if you shut down, it's going to impact the couple that you're serving, the video that you make, and it's also going to just wear you down over time. So when you make a mistake, you could go one of two routes. You could freak out, worry, get anxious, lose focus, turn that one mistake into multiple mistakes now, or you can chalk that up as a learning experience, move on through the rest of the day, and continue to do your best for the rest of the film. That moment is now over. There's nothing you can do about it, so dwelling on it is not going to help you. You can chalk that up as a learning experience to do better next time. And even if you miss something as kind of central as the first kiss, you can make an incredible wedding film without it. The entire rest of the wedding film can be awesome and doesn't include that first kiss, and it's still going to be okay. People may notice it, they may not, but if your film is just really good and you've worked hard and kept focused for the rest of it, and you're able to make something great, that's going to kind of melt away, it's going to fade away. You want to acknowledge your failures and say like, yeah, I totally did miss that, but you can still make something that they love. If you keep internalizing those failures and getting discouraged, you're going to go into wedding days scared. You're going to go fearful. of making mistakes. You're gonna become really anxious every time a new wedding comes up because you're afraid of making mistakes or missing something. So you wanna be able to shoot these days with freedom and confidence because you're prepared. You wanna be prepared, but also knowing that you might make mistakes and be okay with that. Take that as part of the territory. Because I don't want you burning out just because you're discouraged over your mistakes and failures. It doesn't have to be you. All right, number 2 is humility. So if you join any Facebook groups with wedding filmmakers, a lot of them have been seasoned, they've been doing this for years now, and let's say you post your wedding films to this closed Facebook group. I'm in a Facebook group, I'm in several of those, so I would encourage you to go check them out. There's one called How to Film Weddings, there's one just called Wedding Videographers. But if you put your work out there are probably people that are going to criticize your work. Some of them do it in a way that is just not very gracious, it's just kind of mean and demeaning. And you'll probably get called an amateur. And then there are those people who are just going to be really encouraging and wanting to help you, wanting to motivate you, telling you that, yeah, you've made mistakes here, I would change this or that or whatever. That's great, really helpful. No matter which of those types of critiques that you get, you need to have the humility to say, yeah, I am actually an amateur. If you are just beginning, you are an amateur because you might get called that. It's like that's a very amateur thing to do in your wedding film. That's okay. Like if you're just starting out, you're going to be doing things like a beginner. And you can take those, learn from those, have the humility to not just go into defense mode. And maybe a lot of times you do have a great defense for the way you did something, because there are a lot of subjective things about wedding films too, and maybe there are just things that you're confident that you want to do in your wedding films that other people disagree with. That's fine. Disagree with them and say, I'm going to continue doing it like this. But when there are things that are seemingly objective with your wedding film, that are like, hey, you need to tighten this up a little bit because it just doesn't look good, take that with humility and know that you are a beginner and you are going to get better over time as you continue to shoot weddings. But take those things and make those learning experiences. Don't get super defensive because that will be exhausting as well. So you need to be able to say that I'm not the best wedding videographer out there. I'm still learning and I'm still trying the best that I can with the gear, skills, experience that I currently have. And I hope to get better over time. I still make mistakes all the time, so I need to be telling myself this as well, to be able to lower myself and humble myself and say, I can improve. And then, as you start to improve, as you start to get better, and maybe you're in some type of wedding videographer community or group, if you are helping others and trying to critique others' films or encourage others and tell them what they did well or whatever it is, don't be that person who forgot that they were a beginner and start demeaning people or talking down to people or being like, why would you do something like that? Don't be that forgetful about where you started, because if these people are just starting as well, you need to show them a lot of encouragement, positively encourage them, tell them what they're doing well and what they can improve on, and do it in a way that is in their best interests, not just in a way to make yourself feel better about, wow, I'm better than they are. I see this all the time. It sounds obvious, like, yeah, just don't be a jerk to people, but this stuff happens. So don't be mean, haughty, arrogant, condescending about these things. Be humble yourself as you continue to grow and are interacting with others. So there's humility on both ends here. We want humility across the board. So go out there with grace, perseverance, humility, and encouragement, and you're gonna have a lot better time as a wedding filmmaker, and you'll probably be able to do it much longer if that's what you want. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. See you all in the next video.
Who's that sexy thing I see your